Welcome to another episode of Small Cap Picks Meet the Manager. As investors, it's important to consider who is running a company and effectively who is managing your money. A credible management team can make all the difference whether a company, especially a small cap company, will ultimately succeed or fail. In Meet the Manager, we'll find out more about the management team's background, what attracted them to the company, and what their vision is and strategy is for the company going forwards, and ultimately how they will return shareholder value. I'm joined again today by Joe Belladonna, CEO of Harena Resources, who have just listed on the London Stock Exchange under the ticker HREE. Harena are developing the advanced stage Ampasindava ionic clay rare earths project in Madagascar at a time when geopolitical tensions and around critical minerals, particularly rare earths, are in the spotlight. Thanks for joining me again, Joe.
Thanks for having me along, Darren.
So, Joe, an important consideration for any investor is who is running the company that they're investing in and who is effectively managing their money. So perhaps you could give us some background information about yourself, please.
Yeah, sure, Darren. Look, I'm a Perth boy from the west coast of Australia. So the economy here is dominated by mining and farming. So as I was growing up and I did my education and started working, I chose mining as my career. And for the last 25 years, that's been the majority of my roles. I've worked across many commodities now, whether that be gold, lithium, nickel, and now rare earths more recently. Look, I've got an accounting finance background, so the majority of my roles have been CFO finance type roles. I guess the role that I'm probably most well known for in the Australian market was I spent nearly 17 years at a company called Western Areas. Western Areas was a producing nickel mining company. Of the years that I was there, the last 11 of those years, I was the chief financial officer. Ultimately, Western Areas was taken over by another company for 1.26 billion Australian dollars in 2022, and obviously, being part of the executive team there, that was a pretty big role and a big job that I have attached to my resume. Following that, I did a bit of consulting around the mining industry, and then I joined Harena back in the middle of 2023. So here I am now.
Okay, thanks. So you've had a number of leading roles in the resources sector. What attracted you to Harena Resources?
Yeah, great question, and I get asked this a lot actually. Coming out of major a major mining company and going into a smaller developing group, but for me the commodity suite itself, the rare earths commodity market is just fascinating at the moment. The geopolitical situation around rare earths and the dominance of China in the production and refining of rare earths, dominating sort of 90-95% of the refined market of commodities like neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, and terbium. Those are the key elements that go into permanent magnets, and they're the permanent magnets that are going into robotics, AI-generated robotic devices, the energy from wind turbines and the likes. But one of the, I guess, key things that's really developing quickly in the market at the moment is the many military and defensive applications that we're seeing rare earths going into, whether that be fighter jets, submarines, guided weapons systems, and those sorts of military devices. The governments around the world are starting to wake up that a single source of origin or the risk attached to restrictions of supply based on sole origin of manufacturing is something that they're looking to address. So the market itself, like I said, I find it fascinating, and being involved in rare earths was one of the attractions. I guess the second attraction for me was the asset itself, the Ampasindava asset. It's an ionic clay rare earth deposit. It's very, very large. It's like 700 million tons of material there. So it is a large scale project. But being ionic clay, the processing flow sheet attached to the ionic clay projects, it's really simple mining. It's really environmentally friendly. We call it zero impact mining, which is a bit of a holy grail when we look at critical minerals, because critical minerals are going into new energy devices, wind turbines. But if you're leaving scars on the earth to do that, you're sort of contributing to the problem that you're trying to solve. Whereas ionic clays, you're only mining the top surface of the clays. We're processing them in really low risk, a low technology risk heap leaching, using naturally occurring salt-based products like seawater and ammonia sulfate, which is garden salt effectively, or garden fertilizer. So we're not leaving any massive open pits. We're not leaving tails dams. We're not leaving waste dumps. It's not drill and blast. They're free digs. When we're returning the clays once they've been treated via that low risk flow sheet back to the cavities where they were mined, and then the areas are then ready for rehabilitation and or farming. So for me, the commodity suite, very, very interesting, and something that I think the demand outlook is going to be strong, while also having a project that's really solid on a technical point of view, and also really interesting with that zero impact mining cycle, where you are returning the ground to effectively the same condition as it was before you mined it, if not better.
Okay, thank you for that. As CEO then, what's your near and sort of longer term strategy for the company, and you're returning that all important value to shareholders?
Yeah, for sure. Look, longer term, we aim to be a leader in the production of rare earth carbonate products, and selling those into the international market, into downstream processes. And we've also, I'll just note on that, we've already got a non-binding offtake term sheet with a company called United Rare Earths out of the US. They're developing processing facilities in Tennessee at the moment. So we're already starting to see government, geographically diversified takers looking for our product. So that's I guess the longer term vision is to be that key producer. But also in the near term, we obviously want to develop the project without delay. We also want to have a look at what we can access with regard to the funding of rare earth projects coming out of the different countries, whether that be the US, the EU, or other countries that are certainly looking at where they're going to get their rare earths from. So we want to be accessing as much of that capital as we can. And then ultimately, we think we've got the right people and the right project, that we can advance that quickly. We can certainly demonstrate value as we continue to complete our feasibility studies and get work done on the ground. And ultimately, like I said, the demand for the product looks strong. We've got a great project, and we've got the right people that we think we can develop that quickly.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us again today, Joe, and telling us a bit about yourself. It sounds like you have a busy year coming up with Harena, and we look forward to chatting to you again in the near future.
No problem. Thanks for having us along.
Welcome to another episode of Small Cap Picks Meet the Manager. As investors, it's important to consider who is running a company and effectively who is managing your money. A credible management team can make all the difference whether a company, especially a small cap company, will ultimately succeed or fail. In Meet the Manager, we'll find out more about the management team's background, what attracted them to the company, and what their vision is and strategy is for the company going forwards, and ultimately how they will return shareholder value.